Greetings. My name is Vikramjit Singh, and I am here through the channel of the Indian Museum to share with you my views on the cultural heritage. Culture and heritage, two very important words, and you will often find people thumping their chest proudly saying that we have the oldest culture, we have the best heritage. Our heritage has never been altered or changed for several centuries, and the practices that we have are the best and the pure. Almost every culture has people who claim these kind of things. When I started studying heritage, I started from the Indian heritage, and then I realized that there does not exist any culture on this planet which is purely indigenous. There does not exist a heritage which does not have influence of any other culture from any other part of the world. For example, if I talk about the Indus Valley civilization, you come to Lothal, you will find seals from Bahrain. You go to Mesopotamia, you will find seals from Indus Valley civilization. You go to Greece, you will find many gods which have a starking resemblance to the Indian gods. You come to India, you will find architecture which is quite similar or in some aspects similar to the Roman style. So, what is pure and what is not? Well, I think we need to understand that culture evolves. Culture is not born, culture evolves. So, when one person meets another, this can be through trade, through conquest. Various things have happened in past and they're still happening. When one community meets another, they exchange their ideas, they exchange their experiences, they exchange their cultures, their styles, their lifestyle. And they both get inspired from each other. They see that okay, there are certain elements which are quite good, quite interesting in other culture. They try to adopt that. How else do you think that we how else do you think that olive oil got so popular in India? In the region of Punjab, sarson ka saag and makki di roti is so popular. Makki, corn. Corn was not here. I think it came some 2 or 3 centuries back only. There are so many forms of rice which are there. There are certain forms which are indigenous to India, certain forms which are indigenous to China, but then we also have some imported forms. We have tea which came from outside and it has become a culture of India, and I don't know of a household who does not keep tea or who does not drink tea as a routine thing. So, what is our culture? What is the purity of our culture? If I talk about art and architecture, as far as art is concerned, look at Kushan period. We have got Gandhar school, we have got Mathura school. Gandhar school, which the Kandahar area, which now falls in Afghanistan, got inspired by Greco-Roman architecture. The Indo-Scythian kingdoms lent their style to them, whereas the Mathura school, they developed from their old style that was already there during Kushan period. It got developed and then it spread throughout the India, but they also have certain influence. For example, this one statue of Vasant Sena which got very famous, the drunken lady, that statue comes from Mathura school, but it has influence of Gandhar architecture. So we have always interacted with each other, we have always got inspired from each other. Our language, there are so many words in Hindi. If I say the Hindi for building, the first word comes to our mind is makan or imarat. Nobody thinks of bhavan unless you come from, your mother tongue is comes through Sanskrit and you speak that often. There are still few languages who have got a lot of Sanskritized words in them, and then it might click. But if I say pineapple, the word comes as ananas, which is a Portuguese word. Rickshaw, a Japanese word, and we still, we use it so comfortably as if it's our own native language word. For chair, we comfortably use the word kursi. In Quran, we have Ayatul Kursi, which is the description of seat of God. So kursi is an Arabic word for chair. We have been using the word asan, which we hardly use anymore. Singhasan, asan grahan kare, all that. When we stand and we say that our culture is the best, what we do not realize is that to reach this stage, the way we dress up, the way we eat, the way we speak, so many cultures have influenced, and it has been an evolution which happened because of trade and of course conquest also, where people from one community started interacting with another, and the another community or the receiving community, they welcomed those other cultures with open arms. There are so many things that we do in India, so many practices. If I talk about dances, the other day I was watching a dance from Lebanon. Now, the Dabke of Lebanon is quite similar to the Bhangra of Punjab. Similarly, we have many other dances in India which find similarity in few other cultural dances. Uh, the languages that are in South India, they have a starking similarity with the languages spoken in the Korean belt, and that's how I found out that it is called the Dravidio Korean language family. So that's how I understood that, okay, then we have the Indo-Germanic language family, we have the Dravidio Korean language family, and now these two language families, they come together in one country, which is India, and we are still able to communicate with each other, we are still able to understand each other. We say that there are certain languages which are oldest and which are pure. However, all languages have loan words from other languages, and we so comfortably speak them. What makes all this more exciting is that there are certain words in North Indian languages, when we take them to South India, the meaning changes completely. Sometimes it becomes opposite. For example, if I uh, from a Sanskritized word, and we have similar word in South India also, the word kukka. Kukka in South Indian language, I think Telugu, it means dog. Whereas if you come to North India, kukka is not dog. I am a kukka. Kukka movement was one of the freedom struggles. The Namdhari community is known as the Kukka community, and we guys hold a very respectable position in the society. So these small differences, in Punjab we have so many different languages which have now been reduced to dialects. So once there was Majhi, Malwai, Duabi, which now of course they are just dialects, not full-fledged languages. But even today you find certain differences. For example, if I go to the region of Doaba or Majha, which is from Lahore, Amritsar, which is Majha, and Doaba, the Jalandhar, Fagwada side, the dance that men do, this dance is called Bhangra. Whereas if I cross the river Satluj and I come to Patiala side, down south from Ludhiana, in Patiala the language spoken is Malwai. So in the Malwa region, the dance that men perform is known as Gidha, whereas on the other side of the Satluj, dance that women perform is known as Gidha. So on this side of Satluj river, women do Gidha, on this side of Satluj river, men do Gidha, and just to differentiate, it is called Malwai Gidha. Such small differences in language, in food, in style, in behavior make a lot of difference, and yet we coexist, we get inspired from each other. Perhaps that is why we say that in India we have unity in diversity. Thank you.